Fabricio Werdum versus Alexander Gustafsson is set to take place on the main card of UFC Fight Night 174, Whittaker versus Till on Fight Island 3 this weekend, and I can't wait for this matchup. Alexander Gustafsson makes his long-awaited debut in the heavyweight division against the former heavyweight champion Fabricio Werdum. I mean, come on! I like Shogun versus Nogueira 3, but I think everyone will agree with me here when I say this is the real people's co-main event, and the real co-main event on the card. I don't really care about the trilogy that no one asked for in Shogun versus Nogueira 3. I don't need to see it again, but for some reason it's taken the co-main event slot over Gustafsson versus Werdum. It makes no sense in the world. However, I like this fight more. I'm going to be breaking it down. I've been waiting for Gustafsson to move into the heavyweight division for such a long time. In fact, I've been waiting for a big heavyweight that's over the height of 6'4" or 6'4" to be making a debut in the heavyweight division for a very long time, including someone named Jon Jones. I've wanted to see him move up for such a long time now, and we haven't got to see it. So the next best thing, Alexander Gustafsson moves up to the heavyweight division. We'll see how he fares with Fabricio Werdum. I feel as though Alexander Gustafsson's going to win this bout. Neither guy, in my opinion, are in the best situations in their career right now. They're both fighting for a career, I believe. I think the loser of this fight is most definitely going to retire. I know that because I can't see Alexander Gustafsson wanting to continue back through the meat grinder of the rankings in the heavyweight division if he loses this one to Fabricio Werdum. I think he's looking for a big win that's going to give him a big guy inside or just outside the top 5 at heavyweight. Then he's probably going to be looking for a title shot at heavyweight and then plan on, just leaving and riding off into the sunset with a heavyweight belt. That would be the ideal ending for Alexander Gustafsson, I'm assuming, and that's why he's making this move, to get a new look in a new weight division, because right now, with Jon Jones as champion, even though Dominic Reyes beat Jon Jones, Jon Jones is a champion of that division, and even though Alexander Gustafsson versus Jon Jones, the first fight, was close, he still lost twice to Jon Jones. So in Alexander Gustafsson's mind, if he thinks Jon Jones is going to be the champion for a few more years, and he doesn't want to wait around and see if another guy takes the belt off of him, he's going to be sitting without a title shot in the light heavyweight division for a very long time. And if he fights at light heavyweight, it's just basically a waste of time for him because he's not going to get a trilogy with Jon Jones. That's just kind of how things work. So he's looking for a new pathway to a title shot in heavyweight division. I think that's going to rejuvenate him. It's going to make him hungry again, which I'm looking forward to see. There's nothing better than a good reset at a different weight class. I mean, look at Robert Whittaker for a great example as well. A lot of guys have done it. RDA at one point was doing it and ready until he ran into the chaotic one, Colby Chaos Covington, and he broke that win streak there. But a lot of these older guys seem to have success when they first move up into a new weight class. I feel like that's going to be happening here with Gustafsson versus Werdum. I think Gustafsson's going to get the win against Werdum. He is a very big favourite, so I don't mind for Fabricio Werdum's chances here to just get Gustafsson down at one point, maybe take his back and do some work there. Gustafsson's definitely never had the guy a size of a heavyweight on his back before. He's had big guys on his back, don't get me wrong, but it's a completely different ball game when you're on the ground and a heavyweight is on top of you. A real heavyweight in Fabricio Werdum, who took down Walt Harris and snapped his arm almost in the first round. Like, this is a real heavyweight right here. I feel as though Alexander Gustafsson's takedown defense fundamentals that he's learned in the light heavyweight division are going to be able to keep him afloat and keep him standing against Fabricio Werdum. And I just see him uppercutting Werdum all day long. Nice front kicks, maybe a couple taps at the legs as well, just to score some points. I think Gustafsson's going to win this fight by decision. I don't think he's going to go out there and KO Fabricio Werdum. Reason being, I thought Alexei Oleinik was going to go out there and chin Fabricio Werdum in the first round and finish him. I was very close to that happening, so let's get this straight. Fabricio Werdum coming off a loss to Alexei Oleinik. Alexander Gustafsson coming off a loss to Anthony Smith. They're not in the best situations in their careers. I feel like whoever loses this one is definitely going to retire. Definitely, even Fabricio Werdum as well, because he's on the last fight of his contract right here, and if he loses this one, he's not even going to be ranked in a heavyweight division. That's going to be a bit of a problem for his career, and I could see both of these guys, if they do lose, maybe looking at Bellator with some money symbols in their eyes, because Bellator can pay an old guy who's still got name value from the UFC quite well over at Bellator. That's what they're good at. Even though they don't pay their guys overall as much money as the UFC does, a guy from the UFC means more to Bellator than it does the UFC. So I'm assuming if the loser of this fight is definitely going to be looking over to Bellator, but the winner of this fight is going to be right back on track in a big fight card on Fight Island. In my opinion, this is the biggest fight night card on Fight Island. I just feel as though Alexander Gustafsson is really going to make a run at things in the heavyweight division. Something that would be really bad here. I've been waiting for Jon Jones to move to the heavyweight division for such a long time. Something that would be terrible to happen is if Alexander Gustafsson beats Werdum, let's say beats another guy, the winner of JDS versus Rosenstruik. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but let's say he does do that, and then he's looking for a title elimination bout, then he's looking for a title shot. What would be really horrible, and if Jon Jones wanted to be the most horrible person alive, Jon Jones could wait for Gustafsson to get close to a title shot and then just move up into the heavyweight division. And if he wins the belt there, Gustafsson just won't get another title shot there. Like, that's really tough to sell. But we'll see what happens. Alexander Gustafsson wants to rejuvenate his career. I just feel as though he's going to pick apart Fabricio Werdum, but I don't think he finishes him. I think Fabricio Werdum's got a real good chin. He has had trouble with long-rangey guys before, and recently as well in Alexander Volkov. One thing I am going to base this fight on is in the first 2 rounds against Oleinik, when Oleinik is switched on and ready, because Oleinik does gas out as the fight goes on. That seems to be how guys beat Oleinik overall. He does fade in those later rounds, but he's real dangerous early on guys. Especially when he's unloading against a cage, he's going to be tired in the 3rd round as well. So Werdum came back in that 3rd round. I don't see Gustafsson slowing down the same way that Oleinik did, because I really don't see Gustafsson fighting at the same pace that Oleinik did. I see Gustafsson being defensive. I see him basically fighting the same way he fought Anthony Smith, but just not getting taken down because there's not going to be a 4th round. A 3-rounder really helps Gustafsson here, because when you're the guy who's got to keep the other guy off of you, as little time as possible as you have to do that for is better for you. If you're the guy who wants to keep the other guy at bay and he's going to keep coming forward and try and get a hold of you, I'll ask for 15 minutes over 25 minutes any day of the week. In fact, if this was a 25-minute bout, I could maybe see Gustafsson getting a little bit tired in the 4th round and getting a little bit switched off like he did with Anthony Smith, and then Fabricio Werdum gets a hold of him in the 4th, takes him down at one point, and just takes his back and submits him. But this is a 3-round fight. Gustafsson is going to be ready to go 3 rounds. Fabricio Werdum has taken a ton of damage across his career, and to be honest with you, Alexander Gustafsson, although he's had some tough fights in his career, has he ever been TKO'd in his entire career, other than against Anthony Johnson, which was a blatant headbutt? No. I don't think he has, and not a lot of people talk about the Anthony Johnson fight, so maybe I'll bring it up right fucking now. Because Anthony Johnson, no one talks about this, man. Blatantly headbutted Alexander Gustafsson, rocked him, and then proceeded to finish, and no one said a single thing about it, like it just didn't happen. Craziness. Alexander Gustafsson, in my opinion, has never really been TKO'd in his career. I mean, he lost to Phil Davis via an Anaconda choke, was undefeated before that, lost to Jon Jones by a close decision, took every single shot Jon Jones had in that 4th round, even came back to have a decent 5th round with Jon Jones, but Jon Jones came back strong in those last 2 rounds for sure, including maybe winning one of the earlier ones, which is why they gave him the decision, because those early rounds were close. Other than that, Daniel Cormier, hard hitter, KO'd the heavyweight champion in Stipe Miocic not too long ago, remember? Couldn't KO Alexander Gustafsson whatsoever. In fact, Gustafsson got closer to KO in DC in that fight. I know Gustafsson ate a bunch of uppercuts, but come on. Gustafsson kneed DC up the middle, smacked him, almost finished him in I believe what was the 2nd round of that fight. Gustafsson has got a really underrated chin, fought guys like Glover Teixeira and completely outclassed him. Back then when that happened, I thought to myself, it doesn't really mean anything. Glover Teixeira's an older guy. He's probably going to go on to retire after this loss to Alexander Gustafsson. Glover Teixeira is on a 3-fight win streak right now. Nay, maybe even 4 if he gets past Thiago Santos. I mean, he's just beaten Nikita Krylov, Ion Kutalaba, Carl Roberson. He's on a 4-fight win streak right now. He could be on a 5-fight win streak if he beats Thiago Santos, which I don't think is going to happen, but it could. Glover Teixeira has shown that he's still in the game, including a dominant victory against Anthony Smith as well. So that kind of makes Alexander Gustafsson's win against Glover Teixeira look even better than it did at the time, because Glover's gone on to do so well. Not to mention, another win on Alexander Gustafsson's career, Jan Blachowicz, right now could be looking at a title shot against Jon Jones, or at least a vacant belt interim title shot against Dominic Reyes. Who knows? Jan Blachowicz is a beast of that division. Gustafsson's wins have looked better over time, and not to mention this. People are going to say that Gustafsson's going to have some ring rust. He hasn't been in the cage for a long time. I'm going to hit you right back with, this is as active as Gustafsson has ever been in his career, maybe. I know earlier in his career he was racking up some wins in quick succession, but I mean, In 2015, he fought twice. In 2016, he fought once against Blachowicz, beat him by taking him down and out-grappling him, and also doing an okay job on the feet as well. But Blachowicz had some success in the striking realm of that fight, but Gustafsson gets it done. 2017, one fight. 2018, one fight at the end of 2018 as well, which is an even longer layoff. And now in 2019, he fought Anthony Smith in June, and then came back against Anton Turkalj in an exhibition bout in MMA at AK Fighting Championship 3 and won that fight as well. I mean, it isn't a great opponent to come up against, but at least it's showing that Gustafsson is staying active. A young 24-year-old, undefeated at 4-0, takes on Gustafsson in an exhibition bout, and Gustafsson just whoops him for 3 rounds and gets a unanimous decision victory. Great to see that Gustafsson still wants to get in there after the Anthony Smith bout and stay active. And that's a great way to do it. Take an exhibition bout. Don't go full force like you would in a real MMA fight. And just see if you still got it against an undefeated guy who's 4-0. And it turns out Gustafsson still got it. He's coming back at heavyweight. I think he's going to get the job done. The one thing I always worry about, and I'm having a bit of PTSD again here. I feel like I mention this every single time I talk about this fight. But Gian Villante really fucking let me down, the obese prick. Like, he really did let me down showing up like that against Maurice Green. I hope this move to heavyweight isn't just, I don't have to care about my diet anymore to Alexander Gustafsson, because I did see a video of him where he looked a little bit chubby in the face, where he looked like he definitely had put on a little bit of bad weight. You know, not good weight, but bad weight. I wish that Gustafsson shows up in prime shape. I haven't seen him for a while, but he looks like he's getting in better and better shape. And to be fair to him, this video came out when he was only just talking about his comeback fight. I doubt he was really in the gym every single day, training as hard as he can during that time to get in shape. By now, I'm sure he's going to start tapering off some of that body fat and get into a real shape. Because I feel like if Gustafsson showed up in light heavyweight shape, but just didn't cut welterweight whatsoever and just showed up at heavyweight at about, 230 pounds, 225 pounds maybe, I think he could give Werdum a run for his money, and I do think he beats Werdum by decision. I just don't see him getting a finish because he's going to want to stay away. If he was a little bit more confident and he wasn't fighting a guy who wanted to take him down, he'd maybe go a little bit more aggressive on Fabricio Werdum. I just see him chilling back, front kicking, tapping at the legs, jabbing away, looking for the uppercut every time Fabricio Werdum looks for a level change. Something that Werdum likes to do against his opponents is a knee up the middle. He's not really going to be able to do that against Alexander Gustafsson, although maybe he will, because Gustafsson is a guy who, when he gets in a clinch with guys, does lower his head, and you saw DC have some success with uppercuts. So Gustafsson's definitely going to have to look out for some knees up the middle, but I think at range, he's at an advantage. Fabricio Werdum has trouble against guys with range. Overeem beat him. I mean, he did well against Travis Brown, but, you know, Travis Brown, I believe, broke his hand in the first round of that fight, but still, did well against Travis Brown, lost to Alexander Volkov, got KO'd. I feel as though Fabricio Werdum can do at least half of what Volkov did, and I still think that's enough to beat a guy like Fabricio Werdum. I think I said Verdum's name twice. Gustafsson wins the fight against Werdum, moves on to maybe take on the winner of Overeem versus Spivak. I don't know why Overeem took the fight with Spivak. Not Spivak! What's his name? Augusto Sakai. Jesus. Augusto Sakai versus Overeem got signed for September 5th. I have no idea why he signed that fight. Maybe Overeem just wants to stay active and fresh and be loose in there and not have to worry about KO power, which he's not really going to have to worry about with Augusto Sakai, really. So maybe it's a good thing for him. Maybe he gets a big win. I would have loved to have seen Gustafsson versus Overeem if Gustafsson gets past Werdum. That would be an amazing situation. Then the winner of that fight can move on and get a title elimination bout. If it's Overeem, you've got the storyline of the last belt that he ever wanted was the UFC heavyweight belt that's eluded him for so long. You've got that. Then Gustafsson failed at the light heavyweight division, but is reinvented himself at the heavyweight division. Storylines all day. I feel like what's more likely to happen is Overeem gets past Sakai, probably is going to want a little bit of time off, and Gustafsson's going to end up taking on the winner of a fight card that's happening only a week after this one, Junior Dos Santos versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik. They're going to need an opponent, and I'm assuming they're going to want to stay somewhat active. So in my opinion, the winner of Gustafsson versus Werdum should take on the winner of Junior Dos Santos versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik in December maybe, and that's the layout of the heavyweight division. That's what I want to see happen. Good fight though. I just think Gustafsson gets it done. Rangier, better on the feet, better chin, granite chin, underrated chin on Gustafsson, and Werdum, after that performance against Olenek on the feet, I wouldn't even have minded if Olenek went out there and just clipped him, but it's almost worse that he survived it. Because if he just got clipped on the chin, you could put it down to, Werdum doesn't have a chin anymore, he spent it out, he got KO'd by Stipe, he got KO'd by this guy, KO'd by Volkov, he's been off for a while on steroids, he doesn't look like the same guy he once was anyway, maybe he's done. But he survived it. And although that might look good on Verdum's part to make the fight close and come back in that third round, like, don't get beat up on the feet by Olenek for 2 rounds, for God's sakes. You know? Gustafsson's going to piece him up. He's got the range, he's got everything he needs. I think he gets it done. However, the odds are very heavily in favour of Gustafsson, and I don't agree with that. I think Verdum's got a very good chance of eventually getting to Gustafsson in that third round and maybe having some success. I just feel like Gustafsson gets it anyway. I'm not going to make a bet or a prediction purely based on the odds. I'm going to go with who I think wins. Gustafsson gets it done. Like and subscribe. Click that button there. Goodbye.